Well, good afternoon, it's Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant late afternoon. It is an absolutely incredible day today. It is about 22-23 degrees, there's a light breeze blowing and there's very little humidity. So I've been at the centre now for exactly a month and it's been 3 weeks since the house closed, so I am now fully moved into my new location, and there's been a lot of work has been going on in the last month to get this place prepared. There are actually some guests showing up. They pre-booked this place a year ago, and that is mid-July, so there was a lot of things had to be done to get that ready. But there was also a lot of work to be done on the gardens and that kind of stuff. So anyway, first of all, I'm just going to scoot upstairs and I'm going to show you the apartment, because I'm really, everything's organized in there now, and very happy with my accommodations. And then we'll come back and we'll take a little look at what's been going on in the garden. And not much to see yet, because really I've just sort of got things underway. So I'm actually going to have a little discussion as we go around about starting up from scratch. Scratch. This decision I made to move up here meant that I had to give up everything that I prepared for in my last location in Bobcaygeon, my business. I ended up basically just closing it. I couldn't sell it, there was no takers, and of course the house sold very quickly. But when this window of opportunity opened up, I had seen the writing on the wall. I can see where this is going, my friends, and I needed to get out. And as you can see, no jurisdiction, no consent. I'm not consenting to take a trial vaccine. I'm not consenting to be tested for a common cold or flu. And so I've made a principled decision. And it's like the book I'm reading right now, the shit hits the fan moments. And he asked the question, are you prepared to give up absolutely everything to save yourself? Now, maybe it's not quite that dire, but I certainly felt that I did not want to get caught up in the negativity of this whole situation around the outbreak, and I wanted to put my attention into something positive, into something unique, some kind of growth, some kind of moving forward, what it's going to be like post this situation that we're looking at right now. So here's the apartment, and we'll come back and do the garden. Okie dokie, here we go. Okay, so let's take a little look in the cabin now that everything has gotten sorted out. That will be disappearing. That is the water filtration to get the iron out, but I've successfully taken out most of the iron with just a regular filter. Look at that. Vernon Coleman is back on YouTube. I love to see that. So the office is all laid out. We're getting settled in. This reminds me a lot of being in a cabin at sea. Very compact. Everything is stowable. The only difference being is that at sea, you probably wouldn't have a galley in your cabin. You'd go to the mess room. But no. This is like a galley on a yacht or a ship or a small, I'm loving it in here. Everything is within reach. I finally got some of my knickknacks out, all of my horse bits. Of course, Jasmine continues to make the place look very small. But spice racks, storage, vitamin C, collagen. These are all my healing things. Library. And the best of my glassware. But I've got a pretty good library now of how to grow things, healing remedy, old-fashioned, raising bees, that kind of stuff. And of course here is my small bedroom. It's perfect. And I can look out of that window and see the white pines moving in the breeze in the late evening when I go to bed. but you'll see what I mean. I mean, look at this spectacular view. It is absolutely unbelievable. And of course the backyard is something to look at now, because we've been doing quite a bit of work to get that tidied up. But from these balconies I have a view of the entire property. And of course a stark reminder that that wood is yet to be cut. And of course this is the washroom. Yes, very happy with my accommodations. This is definitely working for me. It'll be interesting to see what the winter season is like. And again, you come out onto this back deck and look at this, a two-tier deck. Again, a beautiful view. You know, it's like being in your own tree stand. Just gorgeous. I don't know if you remember what these beds look like. You can see in the last video, and again this will be a log of how things change over the weeks, months and years that I'm here. But these beds fought every inch of the way, the blackberry roots, and I'm still expecting a heck of a lot of weeding for this first year. But anyways, I have got scarlet kale in, and green beans. On the other side is carrots, and the cylindrica beets. Now what I decided to do, because it is hooped, and you'll notice it is wide. This is a mistake that I've made myself. It's a little too wide to make it comfortable for weeding in the center, so I thought I would just dig a trench, fill it with straw, and use that as a water reservoir to allow that water to seep under the beds, and also to make it possible for me to go on my hands and knees and weed from the inside too. And this is how I am going to defend against critters. I am going to wrap this around the base of the raised bed, like so. It'll be a little bit higher than that. I won't take it right to the bottom, and I will staple that. And then I've got some green plastic webbing, kind of snow fence, and I will use that over the top of these hoops to keep the deer off. And this will be a work in progress. Here, call me crazy, I put 2 beds of potatoes in. This one is Norland, and this is a potato I'd never heard of before. And it is a warber, and it's an early potato. On the other side is yellow beans, and 3 hills of squash. And of course this fire pit will be getting used this summertime, absolutely no doubt. But again, you can see what a beautifully landscaped piece of property this is. It's a little dry. That is an issue. You can see not really much of a lawn, it's a bit scrubby, but there you go. We will do the best that we can. I've overseeded a little bit, and I bought myself a lawn tractor. Oh yes, $700 with a new engine. Unbelievable. So peas are in and coming up. They won't be long reaching that first string now that they've got a good start. And underneath that straw, you can't see, but there are little lettuce coming up, 3 kinds of lettuce in there. This is full of onions. There's about 150 onions in there, all coming up. This is some garlic that I found on the property here, and I separated it out, and I put some of that in to see what that's like. And this is the garlic from my property that I transplanted. It's doing really well. And that is Russian red, I believe. That's the original. And of course we've got our water barrels set up here. I was told that the well is good enough to do watering, but you know, this water is the perfect temperature. 4 tomatoes, 2 of each kind. One's a Bonnie Best and one is a beefsteak tomato. And this is my daylilief I brought with me. This is a special one. It's a very nice maroon colour. Two kinds of mint, and that is dill and cilantro in that little bed there. So as you can see, as we look around, because the bush is very dense here, lots of hardwoods, lots of maples. The blackberries, look at them. Look at the blackberries. My face and my fingers are going to be purple come late summer when these are coming on. Wow. And there she is. She's just about full grown. She's absolutely loving it up here. There are so many things and places for her to go and explore. She's getting more adventurous every day. I love it that my dog loves it here. This is one of the things I really like about this place, is the these little rocky outcrops. There's lots of this rock, this granite or shield, and I just cleaned out around here the other day to basically smarten it up a little bit and put the temple back up again. We had a big workup and cleared out all the racks that were on the wall here, and the old wood stove there, tidied that up. And this is a very interesting little building. They call it the Hobbit House. There are no right angles in this Hobbit House. So anyways, there's been an effort put on to get this drywalled on the inside. A little dark, but you get the idea. This is a little Hobbit House bunkie. And it's amazing actually how big it is in here for a small footprint. Very interesting. Yes, this was the other thing that took quite a bit of time, because this garage, believe it or not, was absolutely full to the brim with all of my stuff as a temporary location, and that has now been moved to a container on another part of the property, so it's safely stowed, waterproof. I managed to put a little workshop at the end of the trailer, the container, sorry, and yes, but that was no mean feat, emptying that and restowing everything. And here you go, here's my first toy. $700. It is in mint condition, new blades, and the chap was a retired mechanic. It was a project of his. His brother-in-law had it and really looked after it, but it started burning oil, and so this is a brand spanking new engine he put in, and the oil is, you can see, it's brand new. There's no darkness to it, and so I essentially got myself a brand new lawn tractor for $700. And if any of you have shopped around, you'll know these little babies, they cost anywhere from $3,500 to you get into Boland's, you're looking at 15 grand, 16 grand. So there you go, that was a steal. Thank goodness for Kijiji. And of course this will be starting next week, the chore to be done. Cutting this up into rounds and then we'll get it split, but this has got to get done. If you're a wood burner, you will know that this has got to get done by at least the end of June and stacked up and covered, or you're burning wet wood, unseasoned wood in the wintertime, and that is a pain in the butt. So yeah, I may even make a little video of how I cut these up, because there's some safety practices that have to be observed, and some of the things that I've been learning, I'm still learning about wood and chainsaws and safety issues and so on and so forth. And a friend of mine was actually crushed by one of these piles. He moved a log and it gave way, and the whole thing rolled, and he was in front of the thing, and Not good at all. So, as my old landlord used to say, we've got ourselves a bit of a situation going on here. And so, how do you start again? And I think this is going to be occupying a lot of people's minds, because people's lives have been changed so very much by this situation that we are going to have to reinvent ourselves, rework ourselves. The world is going to have to retool in the light of the new era. And I'm not talking about just the Great Reset, which I don't agree with, of course, but we are going to go into some kind of reset, because we certainly cannot go back in time. And so when you're in a situation like this, the first thing you must do is plan your escape route. When you plan your escape route, you find that small piece of security where you can stand safely with both feet, and then you start moving out from there. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's moving into a box room apartment as a temporary. Just think of everything as a temporary. I'm here because I got this situation going on, and I'm going to move on once I expand from here, or I find a better situation. But you find that anchor, and it's when it's like having a dirty house. When you have a dirty house, what do? You start in any corner, and you just start cleaning, and you work your way out. And so with the beds that I have here, they're not the greatest of beds, but we're going to get them up and running, and then I will work later on this year on building some more raised beds that are more workable in a dry kind of climate. I will be rebuilding my greenhouse because that's, I think, it's going to be a very important thing to have online going down the track, given the weather conditions that we're going through. But there are so many things happening at the same time. We've got the outbreak, which is ongoing. We seem to be able to find no resolve. The lockdowns seem to be never ending. We're just coming out of a lockdown in Ontario, but how long is it going to be before we go back down into lockdown again? They've extended the lockdown in England, in the UK. It was supposed to be June 21st, now it's July 21st. So there seems to be no consistency in the rollout of this, and this is affecting everything. Our supply lines, all of this kind of stuff. One of the biggest things, one of the biggest shocks I think we're going to get in our world is the semiconductor shortage. Semiconductors are in everything that we use, and we have no manufacturing capability in North America, and the last biggest plant in Taiwan has gone down because of a CV outbreak. So there you go. What do you do with them when there's no semiconductors? Ford, Chrysler, GM, Honda, Toyota literally have hundreds of thousands of cars now sitting in parking lots waiting to be finished off because they can't get the semiconductors to do the job. So our lives are going to change incredibly. And so adopting a mindset where you can accept this change. One of the things that I have always been able to do, because I was an only child, is play games, play mind games with myself. I never had any imaginary friends as a child in my fantasies, but I was, Secret Agent Steve. Yep, have a good laugh, Secret Agent Steve. And I'd be on a mission, and I would be undercover, in hiding, whatever, to make my life more interesting, because as an only child, I was a bit of a loner. I never really sort of fit right in with those groups, and so I had to make my own fun, and that's paying off in spades now. But all my life I've been able to play those mind games and turn whatever I'm doing, whatever hardship that I'm going through, into some kind of an adventure to make it more bearable. I read books of people going through similar hardships and how they coped with the stress and so on and so forth. These are the sort of things to help you keep the mental flexibility, to be able to do the gymnastics, to be able to get around the garbage that is being put out today, by the media. I cannot believe the absolute rubbish And of course we are seeing some vindication. The Fauci and the NIH have been funding, the lab. We won't say where, but there is gain of function. All this kind of stuff is now starting to come out. So this is not a good situation, and I think there's a lot more information that's going to come out that is going to make you shake your head as to what has happened. And I honestly believe, my personal opinion is that there will be tribunals. There will be court-martials over this. There will be people who will be publicly vilified, who are in office right now, or who are senior civil servants, who push this forward. I would urge you to go, in fact I will link it below, Eric Clapton's interview. Can't use his hands. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I see the red lights come on for the battery warning. So this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant evening, and we'll talk very, very shortly. Lots more videos coming up, and you take care of yourself. So in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve signing off, wishing you a very pleasant evening, and we'll talk very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.